Yes, YouTube, hope that you're doing okay. It's Ben Hawksworth at The Coach Consultant, and today I'm covering a topic which I find is really fun and really interesting, and that is mind control. Unfortunately, I cannot actually show you direct mind control techniques because I don't know if they're actually real. Maybe people can do it out there, I'm not too sure. But what I can do is show you my personal top 10 ways to actually look at influence, persuasion, and basically in essence, getting someone to do what I want them to do. One thing I'm gonna make a point of massively throughout this video is what I want them to do is more often than what they need to do, right? But if you're trying to get someone to do something that they need to do, that's not going to come from like a passing conversation or a passive comment. Like if this is a sales call, you're going to need to understand how to apply pressure and control the situation. If it's a client looking to obviously get a better result, you're going to need to understand how to actually inspire and motivate them to obviously push to that next step. If a client's potentially thinking about leaving, it's how you can come in and persuade them to continue with the process. Like these type of techniques and the 10 structures that I'm going to talk about today can be used across so many different areas when it comes to human behavior and human management, and most importantly, again, influencing and persuading to get what you want out of them. Trigger a response, right? Trigger. For the next 5-10 minutes or however long this video is, all I want you mentally thinking about is trigger. So as a visual example, what I mean by that is if you imagine that this little trigger point here is attached to that one down there, right? In order for us to get a response from this person, we need to think about how we can create a trigger to get an action from that area of the brain or that area of the memory as an example. The next one is going to be a little trigger point here, moving into there, and then moving into there, moving into there. So as I walk through all 10 of these examples and talk you through them, that's all I want you thinking, because if you don't think like that, you're not going to have conviction when you actually use these type of techniques. You'll end up saying them passively or half-hearted, or not really thinking about how you're going to articulate that point to, again, stimulate that response wherever it is in that brain, right? If there is no triggering, what you've got to imagine is all of these neurons and all of these emotions and all of these feelings are just laying dormant, right? We want to shake it up a little bit, right? We want to not only just shake it up, but want to pinpoint accuracy into one little area. And again, you'll see that there's nothing on here which is talking about bullying someone on pain points in any way, shape or form. But I know without question, by the end of this video, you're going to look at that and go, right, that makes sense, right? And that's what I want from this, remember. I just want you to look at this and go, that makes sense. That's an ethical way to look at how you can influence, how you can persuade and get someone to do what you want them to do, whether that's a sales call, whether it's a client getting a better result, or whether that's a client retaining, or whatever it may be. It's about how you can think about what type of trigger to create to push into a stimulus into that there. So let's have a walk through the top 10 ones now. 10 ways to influence, persuade and get someone to do what you want them to do, and a full breakdown on every single one as well. Number one is energy framing. Energy framing is without question the single most important skill that you need to control a situation and human behavior. So if you are on a sales call, or if you're talking to a client or a prospect or whatever it may be, they potentially will be experiencing some kind of emotional response. So that may be anger, that may be sadness, that may be emotion upset, that may be human, not taking it seriously. Whatever it may be, the most important thing that you need to do is control what energy you want in that conversation. So for example, if it's a sales call, that's going to be confidence. If it's potentially someone looking to leave the company, whatever it may be, that may be seriousness, right? So whatever situation that you are in, you need to make sure that you are maintaining an equilibrium, that you are in control of what your energy status is, because what you'll find is whoever you're actually speaking to will start to mask that framework basically. Then the next one is relatability bias. So one of the best things that you can possibly do is relate someone's situation to someone else who's similar to them, because what that will basically do is look at how they can potentially achieve what they have done, and they actually start to see a future pacing structure, thinking, actually wait, this is possible, that person's achieved that, right? If they've done it, potentially I know that I can do as well. The next one is work ethic reference. Everybody most of the time likes to be the hardest worker in the room, right? I'm one of those people, like, if someone comes to me and goes, you need to work hard, I'm like, yeah, I can work hard, right? It's just naturally what people do. So if you're in a situation, like one of the great things that you can do on a sales call or whatever it may be that you're in, is actually basically reference like, look, this is going to take quite a lot of work, are you ready to do that? I've worked with these type of people who put this much effort in and they've got this type of reward. Do you think that you're capable of putting that type of effort in? What you'll actually find is that people will attach themselves to that because they're like, yeah, I can work hard, I can work harder than them, right? Yeah, I'm born to do this. And that's basically what an entrepreneurship mindset is, and also what just a human behavior mindset is. So for example, that's great with coaches, but it's also great with general people as well. Obviously, it completely depends on if you've got like a female lifestyle client base or a male lifestyle, bodybuilding, whatever it may be. Some of these skills won't be relatable to them. But if you can potentially come in and actually reference that, look, this is going to take a lot of effort, you are going to have to work hard, are you willing to do that? And you challenge them on that, then more often than not, they're going to step up to it and go, yeah, I'm ready to do the work. Even with a female lifestyle client, if they're like, for example, feeling really, really shit about themselves and they know they've not put much effort in, you could say it in a little bit more passive way, like, look, this is going to require a bit of effort, like, you're ready to do it. Do you think that you can put that effort into yourself? So it's how you frame it, again, which is really, really important, which was the first point. The next one is absorbing mutual load, right? Your load and what you are experiencing right now and the situation that you are in is now my problem. That's basically what that statement means, right? I'm here to carry the load with you. I know that you feel like you've got a huge load-bearing weight on your back right now and it's impossible to take steps forwards, and I've been in your shoes, I know where you are, so I know that I can carry that load, I can help you through this. Right? If I can take that weight off your shoulders, do you think that we can come in and do this together? This is great for team management, this is great for middle management, this is great for coming in and actually looking at like sales calls with people who are experiencing problems. This is potential clients who may be leaving, like telling someone that you're willing to or prepared to or have a strategy to take the load and pressure off them is something that they can attach themselves. Because if someone's under a lot of pressure, so imagine a massive rock is on top of me right now, all I'm thinking about is getting that rock off, mate, right? I'm not thinking about what's happening outside or what's going on or what I've got for tea. All I care about is removing that pressure from myself. So if you can actually look at saying like, or stating that you can absorb their load and their pressure, that's the first primary problem they're experiencing. So if you can help them depressurize, you're going to be onto a winner straight away. Right, comparison bias, again, massive one. So this can be both in negative and positive, and also healthy competition in client bases as well. So for example, like especially on like a sales call, this is massive in terms of comparing someone's journey versus someone else. Like this is a great skill to use if someone goes, oh, I can't do that. Well, Sandra and Joe Bloggs and Derek, and they are exactly the same as you. They've got the exact same job. All my clients are in the same niche. They experience the same problems and they've done it. Why can't you? Right. So that's basically where you are putting it on them and turning around and going like, look, these people have gone there and done that. So why can't you? What's stopping you? Like compare your situation to theirs, right? You're putting them under pain by just from a comparison association and comparison bias. So if you can bring up examples of people who are experiencing the same things as them, but they've gone there and done it, then you're going to be onto a winner straight away, because they're naturally going to already start articulating their own pain and you're not actually going to have to point it out. So moving on to this side of the board now, this is one of my actual personal favorites, right? And that is facial expression control. I've got ADHD and behavioral ASD. So for example, I don't really experience like emotional situations like what potentially a normal person would. So I'm quite good at this, because say if someone's really, really angry at me or someone's really, really sad or whatever it may be, I'm quite good at holding my facial expression, but also analysing exactly how they're looking and what they're doing with their face. And this is something that is really, really important, because if you're in a conversation with someone and they're looking around all over the place, or they're looking down, or their eyes are starting to squint, or they're starting to tremor with the lip or tremor with their chin, you can tell exactly what type of emotion that they're under as well. This is exactly the same when it comes to you as well though, right? This is poker face, right? This is poker face all over the table. Like even whatever situation that you're in, you may be turning around and not being that confident, or you might not be able to give them a clear answer, but you can hold your facial expression, you can hold your control, you can sit and you can think about it. Whereas if you're going, oh my God, I'm really thinking about what to answer to this prospect right now and I'm panicking and I'm looking around, they're going to pick up on that straight away. So that's basically like a dual relationship between how you can actually analyze their facial expressions, but also how you can control your own. And I personally think that's massive to get the outcomes that you want. The next thing is basically an analogy attachment. I love an analogy. Everyone knows on this channel who's watching these videos. For the analogy reference is controlling human behavior is like holding sand in your hand, right? If I put a handful of sand in my hand and I scrunched it together like that, the sand would hold together, or some of it would be, some of it would drop out. But if I really squeezed and I controlled that situation, then I controlled that sand, it'd stay, right? If I let go and open my fingers with the hands there, all the sand would fall out, wouldn't it? Right? And that's basically what I'm talking about, articulated into an analogy in this video, for you guys to kind of understand, like human behavior all comes down to control, it comes down to manipulation, it comes down to triggers, it comes down to understanding what buttons to basically press at what point and how to put pressure on to control that stimulus to get the outcome that you want, basically with the sand example. So using an analogy is great because it helps people kind of see things from a bit of a different perspective objective, which will again potentially get a response. Humor, again, for me personally, I'd probably say I used to have like very good sales performance. I've probably done upwards of 1,500, 2,000 sales calls in my career, potentially even more in all fairness. I won't be able to add it all up. I would average at a minimum like 65 to 75% sales performance rate and conversion. And I wouldn't even say back then I actually used any form of sales skills. I was just really interested in people. I was really interested in this type of stuff. I was really invested into helping someone. But most importantly, I could do that every single time. No matter how someone felt, I'd be able to crack a joke or I'd be able to break the ice so it depressurize that situation, right? When you're on a sales call or when you're speaking to someone, it's really easy to maintain that level type of energy. But sometimes when it's coming in, it's a little bit too pressurizing. You need to break that cycle. So when you can come out with something which is a little bit off the cuff or something which was not expected by that prospect or that client or that team member, and if it breaks that ice, it allows for that further conversation. If you maintain that level of kind of pressure, all you're going to do is you're going to come in here and get into a roadblock, right? And that's obviously not what we want. So understanding when is the right time to kind of break the ice and bring a bit of humor into it to maintain that flow of conversation is really important. Self-ownership, this is like another massive one in my opinion. So basically this is in essence is where you are coming in and going, right, look, I want you to do this, but do you want to do this? Right? This is almost like where you're comparing someone about have you got the work to get there? This is basically, that's your goal, that's your end destination, right? Do you actually want it? Right? So that is basically comparing someone in terms of, right, have you got the minerals? Have you got the, I shouldn't say nuts, could be a woman, but have you got the nuts, for example, to be coming in and working hard enough to get to that end destination? This here is self-ownership. This is like, look, I'm going to give you the tools, I'm going to give you the direction, I'm going to give you every single thing that you possibly need. But if you don't want to get to that end goal, if you don't want to get to that end result, then I can't do anything for you, right? And if you can attach someone onto how they would feel when they get to that end result, it's a great skill to use because it motivates someone to actually think past the amount of work that they've got to do to get there, and they start experiencing that emotion in terms of when they're actually at that end point. And then a massive like final one for me, and again, like what you will find is I've obviously done this for 10 years. I've done personal training, online coaching, I've done mentoring, education, events, consulting, 5, 6, 7 multi-7-figure companies. I have extracted and gathered a substantial amount of information. That's why potentially I'm obviously in a good spot now with business, but especially when it comes to sales, I was very good at basically articulating information, right? And I know that, for example, a lot of fitness professionals now, it's all taught about pain points and pressure and getting someone to that point, right? Promise you, please just try and help someone, right? Just whatever it is, if it's a client, whether it's someone potentially leaving, whether it's a sales call, whether it's a team member, just go out of your way to help that person, right? Give them the information that they need so they get that bit of relief, they get that bit, right? What you've got to take into account is just because you are giving someone the information does not mean that they've got a Scooby-Doo in any way, shape or form how to actually do it, right? Or they may know how to do it, but they don't have the time to do it, or the accountability to do it, or the compliance to do it, or the kind of real deep methodology understanding like you do. So actually just giving out information and providing a solution for someone in that situation is one of the best things that you can possibly do, guys, right? So just as a bit of a roundup, and again, this is no particular order, I will be going energy framing. That is basically where you're trying to control the energy and the outcome of obviously what you want by how you control your own mannerisms and your responses and your energy in the course, whether it's confidence, whether it's seriousness, whether it's humor, whatever it may be, to obviously get the desired result. The next one is relatability. How can you relate potentially people that you've worked with before or results that you've got to their current situation? The next one is referencing work ethic, because all the people want to do is obviously they want to be the hardest worker in the room, and that kind of plays into people's ego a little bit. Are you willing to do the work? Yeah, of course I am. Next one is absorbing mutual load. So that's basically where you're coming in and, right, you're experiencing a really high pressure load right now. I'm here to remove that stress, take away that pressure. Do you think we can do it if I take that pressure away? The next one is comparison bias. So, right, you're in this situation right now and you're telling me you can't get from A to B. Right, that person has, why can't you? Facial expression control is where you are controlling your own facial expressions, but also analyzing someone else's, because if you can control your own, but they're not controlling theirs, then you're in control of conversation as a mandatory. Analogy attachment is where you will use a bit of information and explain it in a different way, potentially like an object, a story, or just looking at things from a different perspective. Humor, so knowing when to actually use humor in a conversation if it's getting to a point of too much pressure, because that will not lead to the outcome that you want. Self-ownership, which is where you are basically saying like, look, you are going to give them everything, but are they in a position and are they motivated and inspired enough to actually own it themselves? And then finally, you've got actually providing value and giving someone what they want so they see value in what you are doing to then obviously get to that end desired. Hope you enjoyed that one, guys. And that's how easy it is. Mind control, get people to do whatever you want them to do, earn loads of money, control the lot. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. I could probably list out another 30 or 4 examples of different skills such as that. And it's really important to understand that this is about how you understand the principles of them, when to use them, the information associated with them, and also how to use them in whatever situation that you're in, especially the type of person that you are speaking to, because there's a lot of skills on there and a lot of skills more what won't work with certain types of people. And again, this is the type of stuff that we teach within the Coach Consultant. If you are looking for a little bit of support with your business and you're potentially looking to see, right, what's kind of next for me out there, if you click the link somewhere around my bio, you can find out about what we do in our system. You can see loads of results, loads of testimonials, and again, if you want to follow me on social media, just go on to Instagram. If you want to have a chat, drop me a message. If not, I hope you like this video. If you want to see any more videos, drop it into the comments, and obviously, as always, please subscribe. See you next time.